Anybody here ever had a plan that made perfect sense and then it all fell apart? You did the math, you got the advice, you followed the steps, maybe you even prayed. But somewhere between the calculations and the chaos, it crumbled. Who knows what I'm talking about? That's because logic without the spirit of counsel, noise and I hear my mic just keeps going out. That's a God sign. That's a good. So you can't solve kingdom problems, listen to me now, with Babylonian blueprints. Babylon teaches you to hustle and hope for favor. But the kingdom tells you to wait. And move when you're told. Everybody wants to be powerful. Everybody wants to be mighty. But real power doesn't come from speed. It doesn't come from moving fast. It comes from moving right. So Babylon will teach you to hustle. Babylon will teach you to grind. Babylon will teach you to build your own thing and ask God to bless it. But we don't ask God to bless what we're doing. We ask what God is blessing, and then we do that. Because anything that's built on willpower has to be sustained power. But anything led by the Spirit will be fed by the Spirit. Who knows what I'm talking about? See, that's why most people burn out. Because they're building their own thing. At pace. They're moving on pressure, not permission. They didn't even ask if this is what they were supposed to be doing. It's just what they wanted to do. Felt good. They followed their feelings. God says, don't follow your feelings. Get you in trouble. Who here has ever followed your feelings and it got you some serious trouble? Yeah. Sounds spiritual. I'm following my feelings. Sounds all spiritual, but demons are spirits too. So today's about the spirit of counsel. The spirit of counsel, it's going to teach you how to move like a general. It's going to show you how you can run full speed and still listen for the whisper. Because it's not about what God said, it's about what He's saying. Sometimes He's going to show you where to go, but He's not ever intending for you to get there. Sometimes when we're running full speed, not realizing that God didn't want us to get there, He says, go there, and we're thinking He wants us to get there. And we run full speed, and we look just like the dog running full speed, not realizing he's got a leash on. And once that happens, we get PTSD and want to slow down. But sometimes God says, speed up. Sometimes we want to go really fast because we hadn't got choked out enough yet. Who here has had the chain snap on their neck a few times before? You realize that you weren't present to the present of the present. You were following what you thought you were supposed to be following, what you thought you were supposed to be following. But the dead letter killeth. It was just words that you were regurgitating instead of being present to the Spirit moving. And so it's about being fully present to the present of the present. Stop chasing moments. If I can just get to this moment, then everything will be great. If I can just get to that moment, once this happens, once this vision comes to fruition, then I'll be okay. And you're just chasing these moments, these frames in a movie. And I got to get to that one, and that's going to be it. Stop chasing the moments and start following the movements of God. Start watching God move and ride on those waves. He knows what He's doing. He's got a plan. And God always gets in the end what He wanted in the beginning. And there's nothing anyone can do about that. So you can either just go with it or you can go against it. But it's not going to change the end. The end is inevitable. It's going to happen. What God wants to happen is going to happen. The only question is, do you get to participate in it? That's where your free will lives, is are you going to get to participate in what God is building or not? That's your only free will. Do you get to experience the fruits of it? Or are you going to stay disconnected doing your own thing and you're still going to get drug into it at the end of the movie? It's going to end a specific way. The end of the illusion of time ends a specific way, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. So can you just let go and let God and just trust, just surrender, submit, and yield? And so that's why today, before we conquer anything, we're putting everything on the altar. On the altar. We got an altar there today. We're putting everything on the altar. Go ahead and do it metaphorically and emotionally and spiritually right now. Just start putting things on the altar. Just staying where you're staying in your seat, but just start, and you guys online, there's an altar right there. Just start putting things on the altar, putting it all on the altar right now. All of it. Because if it's real, it'll survive the altar. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about that dream, that vision, that relationship, that plan. Don't worry about putting it all at the altar. It's fine. God's got it. It's in his hands. So don't worry about it, because if it's real, it's going to survive the altar, because nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. You can rest in peace while you're still alive. If it's God, it's going to rise from the altar. But if it burns, it was never yours to carry. So everybody say it with me. Put it on the altar. Say it again. Put it on the altar. Say it again. Put it on the altar. Say it like you mean it and do it. Put it on the altar. There's the story of the elephant and the puppy, where they both got pregnant at the same time. 6 months later, the elephant and the dog. 6 months later, the dog has a whole litter of puppies. And then the dog gets pregnant again. 6 months later, a whole other litter of puppies. Looking over the elephant, there's like 10 puppies in the first litter, 15 in the second. That's 25 puppies, and it looks over the elephant, still hadn't birthed anything. Then the dog gets pregnant again. 6 months later, births a whole other litter, another 12 puppies. And that dog goes over that elephant and looks, says, we got pregnant at the same time. And I've already birthed like over 30 puppies, and you haven't birthed one baby. Are you sure you're even pregnant? And the elephant looks over at the dog and smiles and says, see, what I'm carrying is not a puppy. What I'm carrying is an elephant. And when my baby hits the ground, the earth shakes. The jungle moves. It's not just a little thing. It takes time to build something like this. So the translation, stop comparing your calling to someone else's calendar. Stop comparing your calling to your calendar. You're not late, you're loaded. Everybody say that. I'm not late, I'm loaded. You're not behind, you're built different. Everybody say, I'm built different. Because heaven doesn't measure by speed, heaven measures by weight. And if God's put something big in you, who feels like God put something big in you? If God put something big in you, then it's going to take some time. And if it's real, it can wait. And if it's God, it can grow. And if it's mighty, it needs time. Everybody say it needs time. Because when what God put in you hits the ground, even demons in hell are going to feel it. Even generational curse is going to feel it. Even chains in your bloodline going to feel it, past and future. When this thing comes out of you, Bradley knows what I'm talking about. He's birthing a baby right now. 10 years that thing was in there. And it needed that long. It's coming out now. And the whole earth is going to feel this. What's coming out of Bradley, the whole world is going to feel. The world is going to never be the same again because of the baby that's coming out of him. Birthing puppies. Nobody here. It's not like there's anything wrong with puppies either. There might be people who are birthing puppies, and you'd be birthing a bunch of them. But some people are here birthing elephants, and that takes time. So everybody say it again. Put it on the altar. Put it on the altar. One more time. Put it on the altar. See, everybody wants God's provision, but most people never get God's permission. Who knows what I'm talking about? You want it your way right away. Burger King now. That's the wrong king to be following. Anyone that does it your way right away, you don't want to follow that king. The worst thing that you could ever possibly hear from God is not my will, but thine be done. Did you hear what I've said? The worst thing that you could ever hear from God is for God to say to you, not my will, but thine be done. Go ahead, have what you want. That's the worst thing you could ever hear God say to you. The greatest thing you can hear God say to you is, stop. Slow down. Relax. Chill. Turn around. God doesn't condemn you, but he does convict you. He convicts you because he's a good father. Most of us didn't have good fathers we might have had dads that condemned us. We might have had dads in a woman body. Our moms were our dads. They were condemning us. But we didn't have a father, someone who was convicting us, directing us, and correcting us, and perfecting us. So how you know God loves you is when you feel his conviction. If you're not feeling his conviction, there's something off inside of you. Like, that's a great thing. Like, if you're numbed out, if you can sin and sleep at night, that's not a good sign. That's not something that you want. You don't want to be able to sin and sleep at night. You want to sin and then stay up all night because you're convicted by God. That means you still have a soft heart. You can still hear him. You can still feel him. You're good father who's directing and correcting, convicting you. Who knows what I'm talking about? Everybody say, God convicts me. Everybody say, please convict me, God. I'm tired of being condemned. I'm ready to be convicted. Show me my sin. Show me my false perspectives. Show me what I believe to be true that was a lie. Show me what I've been clinging to that needs to go on the altar. So again, everybody wants God's provision. You got a vision. They want to be a pro with that vision. They want to get paid for that vision. But God's not paying you for that vision because it's not his vision. He only pays for his visions. So everybody wants provision, but they don't get permission. They don't ask. They don't ask God, is this your vision? They got a vision. I don't know where they got it from. They got it from some crystal. They got it from some tarot cards. They got it from their mama. They got it from their friends. They got it from their feelings. They got it from the void inside of them that they thought they could fill with some thing that they could fix in the world. That wasn't his. That was an Ishmael. It was a baby that you're birthing in your own will, by your own might. Now there's no provision for that vision. So you want kingdom fruit, but you're still moving on human logic. But the Spirit of Counsel, it transcends understanding. It ends the trance of understanding. It laughs at logic. And it offends your old operating systems. When he convicts you, he's going to offend you. You're going to be offended. If you're not getting offended by God, if you're not getting offended, then you're numbing yourself out. There's still stuff in you that needs to be corrected and perfected and directed. Soften yourself. Get more sensitive so you don't need the 2x4s. God wants to tickle you awake. He doesn't want to nudge you. He doesn't want to shove you. He doesn't want to let Satan bring the 2x4s and beat the hell out of you so you can get to heaven in you. He wants to tickle you awake. He just wants to give you the little feather strokes. But you've hardened yourself so much that you can't feel something that soft. Who knows what I'm talking about? Everybody say, God soften me. Everybody say, God tickle me. If you want it, who wants God's tickles rather than Satan's 2x4s? Who'd rather have God's tickles than Satan's 2x4s? Okay, great. Okay, that's what I'm inviting you into today. And so, you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness that created it. And you can't receive heaven's solution when you're still worshiping Babylon's strategy. Again, Bradley knows exactly what I'm talking about. I was actually having a conversation with the team members of something that me and Bradley and Earthwaking and God are about to do. And, the dead letter killeth. And there's certain structure. Now, structures are great. They're important. And sometimes it's time for them, the Spirit has grown them. And the dead letter killeth. You got to stay alive, because if you're either growing or dying, there is no in between. So if you're not growing, you're dying. God is a never-ending expansion and creation. So we're now in week 4 of a 7-week series. We started with the fear of the Lord as our foundation. And remember what we chanted on that one? What were we chanting? What was it? We have a chant every week. What was the one for fear as our foundation? Keep fear holy. Everybody say it. Keep fear holy. 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 And then week 2, we remembered our true identity by gaining intimacy with God through the spirit of understanding. And we chanted, I'm knowing until I know. Say it again. I'm knowing till I know. Everybody say no. 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 Y'all got to practice that a little bit this week, right? We say, I'm knowing till I know. And then last week we did we received the spirit of might. And when you got that spirit of might, you're full power of God and the full anointing of God. And we shouted, what did we shout last week? I'm bold and mighty. Say it again. I'm bold and mighty. I'm bold and mighty. Everybody say, we're bold and mighty. And thank God we chanted. Again, the people here at the village know what I'm talking about. Thank God we chanted that last week. Thank God we received the spirit of might last week. And many of you experienced it, because you don't know if you got the lesson until you take the test. We took the test. So many people, there was a giant. Last week we were talking about the giant. The little David taking out the big giant. There was a giant here with giant energy. Big dude, big crazy dude with big crazy energy. And there were some little bitty women that needed the spirit of might to be able to stand, and because it was all by design. It was all part of the plan to let what you've received be revealed. And I talked about that. When the giant comes, when you have the spirit of might, the giant that Satan sends to kill you, God will use to reveal you. And many people got revealed. The spirit of might, that you stayed centered. You didn't feel any fear whatsoever. You were perfectly present to the present, staring a giant in the eyes. That was spirit of might. Y'all feeling it? Isn't that cool? Look at that. And so this week, we're going to be receiving the Spirit of Counsel. And I'm kind of like, dang, we're a little bit late. Like, that would have been good for, it was already here. You could see it. So when I start to distinguish it for you, you can see the Spirit of Counsel was already here. You could see clearly Tammy had the Spirit of Counsel. I had the Spirit of Counsel. Many of us had the Spirit of Counsel that was very clearly on display this last week when the test was happening. And so Spirit of Counsel is where we start getting orders from headquarters. So everybody say, I'm spirit-led and spirit-fed. We got a bonus chant this week. We've already been chanting it already. It's very important. Anybody know what the chant is we've been doing already? What is it? Put it on the altar. Everybody say, put it on the altar. Put it on the altar. Because that's what has to happen first. Before you can be spirit-led and spirit-fed, you've got to pull what's dead already. You got to put that on the altar. Jesus put his dead already body on the altar. That body was destined for death. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. Everyone doesn't die, but everybody dies. Everybody say everybody dies. Everybody say everyone doesn't die, but everybody dies. So I'm putting my body on the altar. So that's what Jesus did. He put his body on the altar. Everybody dies. He put the body on the altar. But people that are afraid of Friday can't make it to Sunday, can't make it to resurrection. If you're afraid of the death, you'll never get to the resurrection. If you're afraid of the death, you'll never make it to life. Because when we talked about keep fear holy, fear only God. If you fear God, you won't fear anything else. But if you don't fear God, you'll fear everything else. And so when you fear God, you don't fear death. But if you fear death, you're worshiping it. What you fear, you follow. So that's why it's so important to keep fear holy, because when you fear God, you're following God. When you fear anything else, you're following that. And so don't be afraid of death. And that's what some of y'all were literally, well, I could get murdered right here. People suddenly started locking doors. I never locked a door before until all of a sudden lock the door. Yeah, so, no, I didn't lock my door. My door's wide open. It's like, there was my barn door. I don't just say anything. Every now and again, Mel's like, dude, your zipper down. Your barn door's open. God, I'm clear. I'm clear right now. So yeah, we're talking about the Spirit of Counsel. Before we go too much deeper, if you're watching online, make sure you go to earthwakingvillage.com. That's our virtual village. You can plug in there, and you can find the Awakened Spiritual Gathering, and it's going to give you a Zoom link so you can meet with us every Sunday morning at 10:30 Central Time. It's Central Time that stays central. It's centered. It doesn't fluctuate and flippy-floppy around like Babylon does. It stays centered. So 10:30 Centered Time. You can find us here to get to experience this live when it's happening. We've also got the Remember experience coming up in less than a month. If you can hear my voice, you definitely want to be there. Just go to rememberexperience.com and sign up for that. We've still got the Exit Babylon Challenge. It's always, you can sign up for that anytime. It's free. Just go to exitbabylon.org. And we got a brand new journey, a 40-day journey that just came out. Today was the first day of it. Just so happens to be on Resurrection Day. Because the Exit Babylon was really a journey to death. And then this one is called Sovereign Surrender. It's still a death, but it's like, you've left Babylon, but now it's time to get Babylon out of you, right? And so this is about the refiner's fire, the purification process. So that starts today. I mean, anybody can take it, start that anytime they want, but officially the community, the group is going through it today. And that Exit Babylon challenge, we all went through it together for 40 days, and all of us completely transformed over those 40 days. So again, if you haven't done that yet, exitbabylon.org. If you've already been through that, or if you're feeling called to go to the refiner's fire right now, go to sovereignsurrender.com and join the journey. We're just starting today. If you want to join along, I'll be in the journey. Mel's in the journey. The rest of us are on the journey together. We got a private signal group, so we're all connecting with each other each day. But you can join, if you're watching online, you can see this later. You can join anytime you want. It's a suggested $17 donation. I highly recommend you donate more. You get back what you put in. And you don't even have to donate anything. You can just put your name and email address in. But I highly, highly, highly recommend that you make it at least a $17 donation, but I highly recommend as much as you possibly can. The only thing God ever says, test me on, he says, test me on tithing. He says, if you will you get back what you put in, if you will give it generously, he says, I will pour into your life beyond anything you could possibly fathom. So that's an opportunity to do that. Sovereignsurrender.com. And also, if you're watching the YouTube, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, and make sure you subscribe because we got all kinds of awesome stuff going on all the time. And then share and comment so that the algorithm's like, hey, this thing, people actually like this. And then it'll start doing some work for us and start sharing it with the world. All right, so here we go. We're in the seven spirits, and so the order in which we're going, number one was spirit of fear. That was our foundation. That positions you. Then we went into spirit of knowledge, which awakens you. Then the spirit of might emboldens you. Spirit of counsel, which directs you. Spirit of understanding, which roots you. Oh, I said earlier spirit of understanding, but it was knowledge. Spirit of wisdom, which refines you, and the Spirit of the Lord, which unites you. So this is about the Spirit of Counsel. So the Spirit of Counsel is heaven's divine strategy flowing through surrendered vessels. It is the wisdom of God applied to the will of God. It is revealing when to move, where to move, how to move, and sometimes when to wait. It's not human advice. It's not logical deduction. It's divine instruction. It's straight from headquarters. Spirit of counsel transcends understanding. It laughs at logic and positions you for victory that only heaven could design. It produces, the fruit that it produces divine strategy, which is supernatural solutions that confound human wisdom. It produces discernment of timing. Knowing when to move is just as important as knowing what to do. You can be at the right place in the wrong time. Who knows you can be at the right place in the wrong time and it can be very wrong to be there. Anybody been in the right place at the wrong time before? Yeah. So that's why the Spirit of Counsel is so important. Knowing when to move is just as important as knowing what to do. Restraint and patience is another fruit. It's the ability to wait without losing faith or momentum. Again, many of you got to experience that. If you were here at the village, you got to experience that this week. People are like, no, we got to do something. We got to stop this now. Your old man was freaking out. Your flesh was freaking out. We got to fix this. No, wait. supernatural patience. God's got a plan. You got to listen. Precision and accuracy, moving on assignment, not on assumption, doing exactly what God said, no more and no less. Another fruit is peace and decision. It's a stillness and clarity in your spirit that confirms heaven's green light. Heaven's blueprint gives you access to plans that don't exist in human strategy. And the final fruit is bold obedience. It's willingness to look foolish to the world in order to be faithful to God. Spirit of counsel in action looks like Jesus saying, I only do what I see my Father doing. Jesus, every moment, he's like, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. It's not my will, but thine be done. And every single moment, he's like, I'm just listening. I'm completely obeying my Father. He's fully God, but fully God incarnate. And you can't see the picture when you're inside of it. He's entered into the picture. He's entered into our sin. He's entered into our false perspectives. And he paid the wages of sin is what? Is death. So he paid the price to enter our sin. It cost his life. But it was just somebody's life, not someone's life. But he paid that price. And as he was in here, entered into all our false perspectives, he couldn't see from the highest perspective anymore from his own eyes. So he was just listening to the Father and had the Spirit of counsel that was guiding him in each and every moment. Spirit of counsel looks like Noah building an ark when there'd never even been rain before. Noah, they were like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm building an ark. There had never been rain. He said, there's going to be a flood. There had never been rain. And he's putting all this time and energy and effort into building this thing, and they're like, you're crazy, dude. It looks like Joshua marching around walls instead of attacking them. Like, what is that going to do? What do you mean just walking around the walls? What's that going to do? That's not going to do anything. It wouldn't do anything in the flesh, doesn't do anything logically, but we're not working in logic. We're working in spirit. There's things that you can't see. There's things that you're not privy to. God's plans are higher than our plans. God's ways are higher than our ways. We can't figure this thing out because, again, you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness that created it, and we created our own problems. What's up, brother? Samuel just walked in again. I didn't say Samuel this time, but we were talking last week, and literally I'm talking about Samuel. I wasn't talking about that Samuel, but I literally said Samuel, and Samuel walks in the room. And he thought he was late. He was like, I'm late because he was trying to get here on time, but dude, it couldn't have been more perfect time because it literally exactly when I said, if he would have came earlier, then I wouldn't have had that cool story. It wouldn't have been, I'm like, that was awesome. So thank God Samuel was right on time. And then, I was like, what? I didn't even get to talk to Samuel afterwards, but I was like, he wound up, it was a very powerful message and a very powerful sermon. He wound up falling on the floor at the end of it and demons coming out of it and everything. I was like, does anybody know what Samuel thought he was coming here for? Is that what? It's drive-by demon delivery. Come get your demons delivered. Drive by. Yeah, let's get this out of here. Like, come on, please pass through. Drive through. Okay, yeah. The Spirit of counsel looks like Gideon cutting his army from 32,000 to 300. He's like, that didn't make any sense because there's way too many. They're like, how are we going to beat there? They're triple us over there. They're more than triple us with 30,000. And God says, because Gideon's saying, I don't have enough people. And God says, no, you got too many. He's like, what? You got too many. And he says, go down there, have your people drink from the water. And if they don't do it this specific way, then send them home because they're not listening to God clear enough. And so they're just going to be distractions. And then the last one is like, if you have any fear, you got to go. And there was only 300 left. But there were 300. So light can cut through steel. Water can cut through steel through coherent focus. What kind of focus? Coherent. I mean, it's all in the same wavelength. But when you can have focus without coherency, all going in the same direction, but having different wavelengths. If you've ever played in a band and you're playing some music, we can all be playing a song, but some people got the wrong notes. That's not coherent. It doesn't fit, it doesn't work. So it's the coherent focus that cuts through. And so 300 coherently focused soldiers are way more powerful than 30,000 scattered, fractured ones. Who knows what I'm talking about? but that's inside of you as well. Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. The power comes from the single-mindedness. Believing in the one whom the Father has sent. The how many? Believing in the one whom the Father has sent. We're talking about in the visionary program, we're talking about freedom, and freedom is the fruit of commitment. Freedom is the fruit of commitment. People are like, commitment? No, that's gonna enslave me. No, but because freedom from anything is bondage to its opposite. People want to be free from righteousness, but that bonds them to sin. They're like, I don't want to be righteous. I want to do what I want to do. Okay, well, cool. Now that equals bondage to sin. Now you're a slave to sin. Cool, you get to do whatever you want to do, great. But that's bondage to sin, and you don't want to go where that ends. But freedom from sin equals bondage to righteousness. You're bonded to righteousness. You literally cannot be free from sin without bonding yourself to righteousness. And so, freedom is the fruit of commitment. The question is, what are you committing to? What are you deciding to? What is your singular focus? Because a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Most people are not double-minded. They're triple, quadruple, quintuple, infinite-minded. They're completely fragmented and scattered so much that they're powerless. That's why God sent his son in form, not just in spirit, but in form, so we'd have something to focus on. And they said, what should we do? What works shall we do? They're asking Jesus, what works shall I do? With an S, what works? What works shall we do? And he says, it's not works. What you should do is believe in the one whom the Father has sent. Because when you believe in the one whom the Father has sent, you receive the Father. But you can't receive the Father without the one, and you can't receive the one without giving the Father, because the Father's in the one. So you get them both. It's just, so you get the whole package. You get the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit by believing in the one whom the Father has sent. You singular focus, but now you get to open up in the whole family. You get the whole family with you. You get life. You get connection. You get relationship with the one. Believe in the one whom the Father has sent. Spirit of Counsel is Peter throwing nets on the other side of the boat. Peter had been casting his nets all night. And Peter's a fisherman. He knows. And he's like, after all night, he's like, there's no fish here. And then Jesus says, cast out the nets one more time on the other side. He's like, no, man, that's stupid. But because the Spirit of Counsel rested upon him, he says, okay, it doesn't make any sense. It's not logical, but I'll do it. And boom, all of a sudden, throws out one more time, and the nets are filled, and it's like starts to sink the boat because there's too many fish. Where there was no fish, now, illogically, for no rational reason, it's impossible. Suddenly the boat is overflowing with fish. There's too many. They had to bring other boats to fill up the boats because there were so many fish. When there was a drought just a moment ago, a fish drought, that all night. So, can everybody see the difference between logic, rational, and the Spirit of Counsel directing you? So it's not just knowing what to do. It's knowing when, where, how, and sometimes knowing to do nothing at all. That's what happened this week. Like during this last thing, the little test, God told me nothing. He's like, you sit. Do nothing at all. I'm like, I don't know. This is kind of crazy out there. Look, kind of crazy. Nope, you just sit. Do nothing at all. He's like, let it burn. Let the whole thing burn down. He said, let the mission burn down, let the movement burn down, let the village burn down, let it all burn. Because he said, put it on the altar. Because if it does burn down, you'll know that it wasn't for me. But if it's still standing after this, then you know it was. So I just kicked back and relaxed and started laughing my ass off. Oh my. It was a funny. I mean, Mel was watching me. I just couldn't, especially when I created. Anybody tried out my spiritual surgeon yet? The GPT. I mean, I think it's badass, ain't it? That thing, I trained it to cut like I do. Just hammer the people. Like, no, don't fluff it. Just let it rip. And it does it. It does it great. And Noelle was sharing her conversation with the spiritual surgeon, and I'm reading through that, and I'm just like, I just could not stop laughing. I mean, like tears were pouring in my eyes. I'm trying to read it to Mel. I'm like, Mel, and I start reading the thing, and then it just starts. I'm just cracking up laughing. I can't even read it to her. And And she's like, I'm literally just crying because it's just so funny, and I'm just watching everybody, how everybody's reacting to the giant, and I'm laughing at how people are reacting to it, and I'm having reverence for the ones that are responding to it. I'm like, wow, that's badass. Like, look at that, that's cool, man. Look at it, super cool. I mean, you're just watching it. It was such a beautiful experience, a beautiful display. So, Spirit of Counsel is heaven's intelligence downloaded into human vessels. It's kingdom strategy from headquarters. When God first told me I was going to be reinventing the monetary system, 2015. Is that on? January 25th, 2015. God was telling me I was supposed to be reinventing the monetary system. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Like that? No, that's impossible. I'm not going to be able to do that. He's like, exactly. You won't, but I will. Just stay out of my way. 10 years later, boom, we birthed the kingdom monetary system. Like, it actually happened. Yeah, let's go. Let's get right. That's pretty bad. It's incredible. And it's expanding, it's spreading, it's starting to happen. Again, there's some big, and part, like, everybody's difference makes a difference, and it all comes together, and all these pieces are coming together, and I'm watching this thing is about to just take off exponentially. I'm like, wow, just at the exact, see, I never knew that God was going to be taking down the entire old monetary system. 10 years ago when he told me that, I didn't know that the dollar was going to completely collapse. It was going to completely just go away. I had no clue. But I just kept taking the steps as he was telling me to do, because there's no way this thing is going to be able to compete with this giant thing that is literally the God of the world. The dollar is the God of the world right now. And I had no idea the God of the world was going to die right as he was building the David of the world. The David monetary system that takes that thing down. I had no clue, but I just kept taking the steps. But people thought, when I first started saying that, people were like, dude, you're stupid, you're crazy, or whatever. Well, Noah looked like an idiot till it started to rain. And I'm starting to not look like an idiot to some people anymore. I look like, Noelle's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she was saying, oh, let's go. She's faithing until she made it, but she was in doubt the whole time. She's like, well, I don't know, that's kind of crazy. John really just exaggerates a lot. No. It seems like I'm exaggerating because you can't see what I see. I'm actually underrating what I'm seeing. I'm underrating it. If y'all heard me say what I'm really seeing. But now, Noel's like, daggum. Everything that he said. It's literally like I'm watching it unfold before. The impossible, all of it's impossible. But he really is a prophet. And I'm sitting, I really am a prophet. They're like, what? This is crazy. I'm just the same thing. I'm just sitting there watching it. Like, wow, everything really is. Everything that God told me, it really was God telling me. And it really is happening. And I don't even know how it's happening. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm just standing out of the way and I'm just watching it all. I'm like, look at that. That's hard for my logic. I mean, it's very hard for my logic. Like, what? That just doesn't make any sense. But I don't live in my logic anymore. I live in the kingdom. And I love in the kingdom. And I connect in the kingdom. And I create in the kingdom. And I contribute in the kingdom. So you're all being invited to the kingdom, but you can't get to the kingdom through your head. That's why the Spirit of Counsel. You humble yourself. Humility is the supernatural humility is the key to the kingdom. To humble yourself, because you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness that created it, and you created all your problems. And so you're going to have to let go of what you think you know in order to have what he already knows. You got to trade in what you know for what he knows. And that's hard if you're not humble. But when you're humble, it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm saying this, but better than doing what I plan. Because every time I do what I plan, it just doesn't work too well. I mean, it might work well for a moment. For time, might work well for a season. Anybody ever made your plan and it worked well for a season? And then how'd it go? Hopefully you're still not holding something together. Some people have been holding for many seasons. Some people have been holding their thing together for 20, 30 years. And that thing's coming down. All Babylon's coming down. And anything that's built in it, by it, for it, from it, through it, is all coming down. And if your world, your life is built using Babylon's tools and systems, and you're done. And you're clinging to something that's gone already, dead already. So, you can't see the picture when you're inside it. God's plans are always higher than ours. And when you got the Spirit of Counsel, it's like having a GPS. Like, I remember the days where we didn't have GPS. We just had the map, and you're playing. I'm like, I'd look back. I'm like, how did we do that? It's not really hard to even we really just did not have GPSs back then. And we just really took this map and plot it all out and draw little lines and then we just drove there and we actually get to where we're going. Couldn't call somebody, hey, where you at? Couldn't map nothing. But then we got GPSs. That's what the Spirit of Counsel is like. That's what the Spirit of Counsel is like, a GPS. Where suddenly, but when you get the Spirit of Counsel, watch out, because it's going to confound you, going to confuse you, or it's going to confuse your ego. It's not going to confuse you. But it's going to say, stop. It's going to, don't go that way. Anybody know this is the only way? This is going home right here, and my house is right there. It's like, no, go this way. Like, no, if I go, my house is literally 5 miles that way. If I go that way, it's going to be 50 miles. That way, no, I'm not. I'm going to go this way. It says, stop. And then you go that way anyway, and, oh, there's a wreck. Oh, and now you're going to be sitting there for 10 hours. The road broke. We were in Jamaica one time, and the driver said, he was driving, he's trying to get us back to the cruise ship, and he's like, the road broke. I'm like, what the heck does it mean the road broke? He's like, yeah, the road broke. And this dude, but it was crazy. He was literally pushing cars out of the way with his van. He's like, push them out of the way. I got to get you there. I'm like, dude, it's fine, man. Because on our way because he was the same driver that took us it was a cruise ship, and he took us on the excursion in Jamaica. And on the way to the excursion, he was telling us this word, Irie. And he's like, Irie. He's like, you know what that means? I'm like, no, what's that mean, brother? He says, it means it's not a problem. It's just a situation. I'm like, dude, that's how I live, brother. Yeah, that's Irie. That's my life. Not a problem, just a situation. No big deal. Irie. And so that's what he told us on the way there. And then we start coming back, and all of a sudden the road broke, and I got some Irie, and he don't. He's like, we got to get there. They're going to leave here. I got to I'm freaking out there. And I'm like, dude, Irie, brother, Irie. It's fine. No, we're cool, man. We're just sitting. Relax. We're in Jamaica, man. Let's relax, Irie. And so then we wound up, he could only get us so far. And then, brother, it's fine. We'll just walk. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I can see the boat. And so we walked, and we just had a beautiful stroll. Walking there, it was cool. And then we get to the boat, and then the ship is like, well, they're not taking off without us because the road broke. There's 500 people that didn't make it. We're not the only ones that didn't make it, so they weren't going to leave anyway. He was afraid they were going to leave. It's like, no, it's fine. But we get there, and they're like, dude, we're not going to, the boat was like, we're not leaving until the 500 people finally make it here. So there was no need to hurry. There was no need to rush. Just enjoy the journey. We just got extra time in Jamaica. Irie. But that guy didn't have the Spirit of Counsel there. Now, he had the Spirit of Counsel, God was the one that telling him to plant the seed of Irie beforehand, but he didn't listen. He didn't listen to the words that the Spirit spoke through him. I was listening. I listened deep. I listened deep. I listened long. I listened strong. I'm taking it all in. I'll listen to crazy people, live in storage sheds. Some of my greatest wisdom I got from listening to crazy people that live in storage sheds. I'm not joking, because I'm listening. God will speak to the most unsuspecting subjects. Every moment is a gift from God, even the moments that you don't like, especially the moments that you don't like. And every person is a gift from God, even the people you don't like, especially the people you don't like. And if you ever feel like you're not heard, the only reason you ever feel like you're not heard is why? Because you are not listening. Who's not listening? You're not listening. Why are they not listening to me? Why are you not listening to God? If you ever get upset and triggered, and why are they not listening to me? Why are they not hearing me? It's because you're not listening. Everybody listening right now? God is speaking to you right now. I don't know who this is for, but somebody needs to hear this because God's saying it over and over right now. You think you're not being heard. Has anybody ever felt like you weren't being heard? Has anybody here ever felt like, why don't they listen to me? Anybody ever had that? But why aren't they listening to me? The reason that you weren't feeling heard and they weren't listening to you is because they weren't supposed to listen to you. You were supposed to listen to God. You were not listening. You were not hearing. God is using them to stop you, to slow you down, to get you to a point where you can't do anything, so you'll finally submit, surrender, and yield to the one who's doing it all. Did you hear it? That's the Spirit of Counsel. So this one came through Mel. God's plans always, never make sense. Well, that didn't even make sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. Well, it makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense. Always, never. Can you put always, never together? I don't know, but that's what God did, and it makes sense. God's plans always, never make sense. Makes a lot of sense. Who's that make sense to? God's plans always, never make sense. That makes a lot of sense. I can tell you so many times where God told me something crazy, right after. So when God came and asked for my life, and then he told me what he's going to do with it, and then like immediately after, he says, all right, book a flight. Fly to Arizona. You're going to fly to Phoenix, Arizona. Book a flight today. You're going to fly tomorrow. I'm like, well, hold on, bro. Like, what do you mean? What am I going there for? He said, book the flight. You're going to fly to Phoenix, Arizona, and you'll come back. You're going to be there for one day, and you'll come back. You're actually come back the same day. Like you fly there. No, you'll be there for 24 hours. Yeah. You leave. You book the ticket tonight. You fly tomorrow. You come back the next day. And I'm sitting there arguing with him for all day until 11:59, and it's like it just keeps getting louder. I'm like, dude, if you'll just tell me what I'm going for, so I can understand because it doesn't make any sense to me. If you'll just, again, this is when I first submitted surrender to God. I wasn't used to this. I wasn't used to taking orders from headquarters and not telling me why I'm doing what I'm doing. He's just telling me what to do, and I'm not used to the yes sir. I was a rebel. Do I get any more rebels in here? Any of my NRK in the USA and. This is me, yeah. Yeah, rebel, yeah, right? So I wasn't used to taking orders from headquarters. I wasn't used to obeying. That wasn't my jam. Obey, no, that ain't my jam. Yeah, right there. No, stay away from obey. But so now we do the wrong thing so long, the right thing feels wrong. So to obey, to do what I'm told because he says so? No, man, that's not a good father. You don't care about me. You're not telling me why. You don't even care enough about me to tell me why, to get me in on it so that I can decide for myself. No, you don't need to know. You just need to say yes because I said so. I'll tell you he didn't say I'll tell you on the other side, but he did tell me on the side. So finally at 11:59, when it finally got loud enough, because it was like, this was it, because this was my last moment to be able to follow the orders, because he said today, book the ticket today. And I finally booked the ticket. Literally, instant, as soon as I booked the ticket, he says, you're flying out there to go see Dean Graziosi. I'm like, nah, dude, this dude, this guy, for those who don't know, this was, he was the biggest real estate guru back in the day. And this dude was bringing $200 million a year. And I'm like, dude, God, there's no way that dude's going to meet with me. And he's like, you see, that's why I didn't tell you. Because if I'd have told you what I was sending you for, you wouldn't have believed me and you wouldn't have booked the ticket. And so I said, all right, well, I already got the ticket. Even though that's not going to happen, I'm going to go ahead and go there anyway. And he says, email Dean and let him know you're coming. I'm like, it's going to sound crazy, sound weird. I mean, he charges like $20,000 to meet with him. And I'm just supposed to tell him I'm going to come meet with him. He said, yeah, send him the email, tell him you're coming. And I sent him the email or the text. I don't know, a text. No, this was a text. And I said, I'm coming to meet with you tomorrow. And so then the next day, I didn't get any message back, which of course I didn't expect to. And then I get on the plane, fly from Panama City to Atlanta. As soon as I land in Atlanta for my layover, I get Wi-Fi. Oh, bling, look at that. I got a message from Dean. He says, oh, sorry, I can't meet with you, brother. I'm like, see, God, I told you, idiot. You fool. See, I know much better than you do. I know what's right. You don't know nothing. See, you don't know what it's like to be here in time. You're just up there fluffing around in your heaven where you just get to sit on your high and mighty throne. You don't have to worry about human stuff like we do. Humaner. You don't have to worry about this crap. You don't get it. So then he says, message him back and just let him know that you're coming, and say that. And he gave me exactly what to say. He said, I don't remember what it was, but it was something about, I'm coming. I'm going to be there for 24 hours, so I'll just going to be hanging out, walking around, not knowing what I'm there for. But if the seas just happened, because he said he was filming a movie. He's like, dude, there's no way I'm in the middle of filming a movie. There's no way I could possibly even have any time. I was like, well, no big deal. If God parts the seas, makes some way, impossible way, then just reach out to me and let me know, and I'll meet with you. And then, so I just flew on out there, and I land there, and I'm like just walking around all day. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what I'm there for. I'm like, I guess I had to be there for some reason. And so then all of a sudden I get a message from Dean. He says, where are you at? I told him where I was. He says, meet me at this place in 30 minutes. And I checked, I was 30 minutes away from that place. I'm like, all right. He's like, the seas parted, God made something happen. And he's like, all right, I'm going to meet with you. So I would have, again, if he would have told me what he was doing, I wouldn't have believed him. I had to start, he was teaching me, he was building my faith muscles. Walk by faith, not by sight. Faith is the currency of heaven. You can't see it, you can't logic it. You got to listen it. So, that was just one. I mean, when Mel and I, we both got told very clearly, pack a bag. You got 1 hour. Pack a bag and fly to Costa Rica. You have to book a ticket right now. You got 1 hour to pack your bags and book a ticket and fly to Costa Rica. You got 1 hour. Like, what? No, we just literally everything's going great. We're building our community here. Everything's going awesome. Everything's finally all working. It's perfect. We got community, we got family, everything we've been waiting for and hoping for and dreaming of. We got it all. It's happening. And God says, you got 1 hour, pack up your things, go. And we said, okay. We fly to Costa Rica. As soon as we land, the whole world shuts down from COVID. They shut down all the airports. I could have known that. And then they said, you got to catch a reparation flight back. And we're like, no, God sent us here. We can't go back. God just sent us here. And they're like, if you don't go back now, then you might not go back. And we're like, well, we got to go back. We got our family. We got our everything, our community. But God says, no, you stay. And so we said, okay. And we stayed. And that's what everything, we have a village now. And we wound up, our people came to us. It all worked. But I could have never figured that out myself. I could have never chessed my way into that reality. I mean, most of you have heard the story about whenever I bought actually, this property right here, we're standing in this room right here. Right there in that corner, on that couch, I met with the guy that owned this property that lived right there across the street. And he said, I want to sell you, he wanted to sell this property for $800,000. I had $5,000. And God told me to tell him that I can't give him $800,000, but I'll give him $1 million. Now that doesn't make any sense. I got $5,000. $800,000 is too much. $1 million is way too much. Doesn't make any sense. But that's what he told me to say, and so that's what I did. And then the guy worked out a deal. He said, put $250,000 down, $250,000 a year, $250,000 a year, $250,000 in a year. And so the guy agreed to it, to $250,000 down. But the problem, I still only had $5,000. But God said, sign the agreement. And then we're going to close in 30 days. And guess what happened in 30 days? $250,000 hit my bank account. And we bought this place. A year later, I think we had a few $1,000s in the bank account. Now it's time for another $250,000. We're like, oh, guess what? $250,000. I can't remember if it was the second year. No, I think the second year we might have had, I think we had it 2 weeks prior. I can't remember. No, the second year I think it was right on, it was literally the day before. Third year, had a few thousand, I think I had $20,000 this time. Yeah, I'm doing great, except for I had another $250,000. And then literally the day that we were supposed to close is the day that I got the $250,000. And it wasn't looking good. I mean, obviously it wasn't looking good. And then, but now, as of January 7th of this year, we've paid this thing off free and clear. Because we have provision for a vision that is God's vision. You're a provisioner. When you have a vision, he pays you for it. That's why I take orders from headquarters. Because I learned a long time ago that obedience will take you to places that logic is never going to get you. I used to play chess with life. If I do that, then that could happen. I could do that, and that could happen. I'd start to try to figure out all the paths, but I'd spend so much time trying to figure it all out, getting ready to get ready, that I missed the moment. I missed the shot. Doesn't matter if you make the shot, it just matters that you take the shot. But I was missing them all because I was sitting there trying to figure it out. But when you just obey, you're in the flow. You're in the Spirit, and the Spirit is moving you. And when it moves you, it's also moving everyone around you, putting everybody exactly where they're supposed to be so that his vision gets provided for. Who knows what I'm talking about? So, again, I'm sitting over there. He's telling me to sign this agreement. I'm going to pay him I'm going to pay him $1 million. But my bank says no. God says go, my bank says no. And you cannot serve two masters. If God is telling you to do something and you're looking at your bank account and your bank account says, I can't do this, and you listen to your bank account, that means your money is your God. Who's with me? You follow me right now? If God says go and your bank account says no, Eric knows what I'm talking about. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. And now he's sitting here like, how is this even possible? The dude was living in a car a week ago. Broke, homeless in a car. I mean, he had a car. In Starbucks parking lot. Or you start living in Starbucks parking lot in a car. A week ago. But he was listening. Actually, can you come up just for a moment? I don't know, I'm just feeling called. Like, you just share that story of what happened, like just in 5 minutes or less, just share something.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful, so happy and grateful to be here. Sit.
Or just stand, or you can stand just right, just make sure you're...
Oh, just in camera?
Yeah.
How's that?
It's good.
Okay. Yeah. I was already feeling the spirit of this most holy day, and once John started sharing some of these miracles that have occurred along the way, it's such a validating demonstration of faith, and that to me is an example of what a true leader is. So I'm happy and grateful to be hitching my wagon to God, which is also clearly here with John.
But what was it like leading up to you making a decision? How'd you get to this decision? How'd you get here?
Yeah. Through exactly what you're saying, by doing what didn't make sense, but limit testing the relationship in my heart with God. And what came to me frequently was, I have a number of spirit guides, both internal and external, that I trust as reference points of, well, let me check in with my counsel. Let me see what she has to say. Now let me hear what he has to say. Now let me hear what you have to say in my own internal meditation and prayer. And then, after you listen and be still, then do I make a choice and exercise my free will to try to, as best as I am able, align it with God's will. And so it does feel like a leap of faith. I said to John on the Off-Grid Dream Life call, I'm Indiana Jonesing this. And I literally looked up the clip and watched it because I thought I was in my memory referencing the scene where he's trying to decipher the path. I'm not like in love with those movies. It was just coming to me. But the scene that it actually was he comes out and his dad's dying, Sean Connery, and he's looking ahead and everybody's waiting on him to go forward. And there's a big chasm and he gets there and he's like, oh, I can't do this. And he looks back over his shoulder to see what's plan B. And it's his father dying and the Nazis are closing in and it's all, there's a pressure. And he's like, well, he stills himself and he makes a decision to make the leap of faith and he puts his foot out. And I think Harrison Ford does an excellent job of it because he just closes his eyes and you can see him going with his full weight forward. It's not one of these where you got one foot in and one foot out. You can see him shift his whole body weight and drop into the leap of faith. And then he gets caught the second he needs to, and then basically goes the rest of the way. But I felt that. And I think that's a pretty good spot to close. But I felt that need to make a leap of faith. I felt that it was a chasm before me. But then I thought, God, Christ, you've proven yourself to me every step of this way. Why would I stumble at the 1 yard line? You've left the biggest leap for last. And also that scene in The Dark Knight with Batman where he's climbing out of the pit and they're all chanting and he has to take the rope off and jump. That rope was weighing him down. So both of those scenes were instrumental in guiding me, but that's how it comes in the external. Internally, it's a quiet, soft, loving reassurance that says, no, I got you.
Nice. Let's give it up for Eric. Take that over there. Give that to Cole. Yeah. See, God's plans always never make sense. He could have never, he's been dreaming about this vision. He's like, it has to be real. It has to be possible. He felt it was real inside of him. But it's like, how could I possibly get there? How could I possibly do that? I'm broke and homeless, living in a car in Starbucks. But God's plans always never make sense. And if you will just listen, there's a provision for your vision, because it's his vision and when you work for him. So here's what I want to tell you. Listen to what I'm saying here. When God places the order, he writes the check. Everybody say that. When God places the order, he writes the check. What happens when God places the order? What happens when God places the order? Everybody say, I'm spirit-led, so I'm spirit-fed. Who's getting it? So that's why I take orders from headquarters, because I learned a long time ago, obedience will take you where logic never could, and counsel will build what your calculator cannot comprehend. So Babylon says, if it makes sense, do it. Kingdom says, if God said it, do it. Babylon says, if the numbers line up, move. But kingdom says, if heaven spoke, move. Babylon says, if you can afford it, if you can't afford it, you can't do it. But kingdom says, if God orders it, he'll fund it. Who knows what I'm talking about? So everybody say it with me. When God places the order, he writes the check. So, but if you want kingdom counsel, you got to put your plans, put your pride, put your control. Where do you put it? On the altar. On the altar. Where do you put it? On the altar. Everybody say, put it on the altar. Put it on the altar. You see, as you start to rise higher, in a higher elevation, like you're elevating spiritually, and when you rise in elevation, everything starts to change from a higher elevation. When you climb higher, the air gets thinner, and you can't breathe rare air with rushed lungs. You got to slow it down. You got to be more present, more precise as you get higher to breathe that rare air. That's what you're getting called into now, a rare air. That you can't run on Babylon's hamster wheel, because you will wear yourself out. You'll die because you can't breathe. That's why you slow down. The Spirit of Counsel slows you down before it speeds you up. And it's like what you're going to experience is because you're going to be going faster while feeling slower. Like your steps, you're going to be taking less steps, but they're going to be bigger. You're going to start like flying. It's like if you're driving a stick shift and you're revving up the engine, and you're like 15,000 RPMs about to blow up your engine, and you're not going very fast because you're in first gear. But you shift into second gear, the RPMs go down, but you go faster. Who knows what I'm talking about? That's what the Spirit of Counsel does for you. Who'd like for that to happen? Say aye. Aye. See, this was Isaiah 40:31. But those who wait for the Lord, those who do what? Wait. Those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. Who like to have wings like eagles? They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary. Who are the people that are going to walk and not become weary and run and not get tired? Who are those people? The ones who wait on the Lord. I sure hope you hear him. Who's hearing him right now? Who's listening? Who's hearing him? Are you hearing him? You hearing him? You listening? Everybody say, I'm listening. Everybody say, I'm listening, Father. See, wait doesn't mean delay. Wait means prepare. Wait means proximity. Wait means presence. You're getting closer to him, and the closer you get to him, the closer you get to your destiny. The closer you get to the people that are meant for you. The further you get away from your doom, the closer you get to your destiny. The further you get away from the people that aren't meant for you, and the closer you get to the people that are. The closer you get to God, the closer you get to the things that are meant for you, and the further you get from the ones that aren't. Who knows what I'm talking about? So everybody wants mountaintop revelation. but nobody wants valley preparation. I mean, just think about, like, I'm going to climb the top of Mount Everest. When are you doing that? Today. Oh, well, you're going to die. Who knows that if you decided today you're going to just right now, you're just going to take what you got and go up Mount, you would die. Every person, even the ones who've climbed up Mount Everest, would still die if they didn't prepare. If they didn't do what? Prepare. Psalm 46:10 says, be still. Be what? Be still and know I am God. Proverbs 19:21 says, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. So the translation, it means move all you want, hustle all you want, and grind on all you want, but if it ain't in heaven's plan, then it ain't going to stand. And it's better to know that beforehand than after, right? Isn't it better to know beforehand than to give your life to something that's going to be destroyed? Waste your life trying to build something, giving all your energy, all your time, all your resources into something that's not going to stand because it wasn't given to you by heaven's command? Wouldn't you want to know in the front end instead of the back end? Instead of wasting all that time and energy, who would rather know before than after? Then wait. Then listen. Be still. God will direct you. Have you ever noticed that you can hear bass sounds much further away than you can hear the high frequencies? You noticed that before? You know why bass can move through walls? It's because it moves slower. Low frequencies, low is slow. There's low frequencies are slower, and they're lower, and they're deeper. And because they're deeper, they can go through the walls. See, the high frequencies, they're bouncing off the walls. That's what Babylon looks like. That's what you look like when you're trying to do your thing in your time. You know what I'm talking about? Who knows what I'm talking about? Like high frequencies bouncing off the walls, and it's chaos. It's like so loud in here. It's loud because that's you screaming, and it's just bouncing off walls and come back instead of you listening to his whisper. If you just shut up, it'd be peaceful and quiet, and you could hear his whisper. But you're just too loud to hear him. So fast things look loud. Slow things go deep. Babylon moves fast, but heaven moves precise. Demons move loud. Generals move slow. Anybody can make noise, but generals make moves. Anybody who's ever been to the Remember experience, y'all know that I don't know what I'm doing. But there was one that we did, I think it was the one before the last one, where we had two crazies show up. Two crazies that showed up. There was this woman, I mean, she was full on nuts. Big and loud and just going crazy in the middle of Remember experience. And people made a lot of, had to do a lot to get here. And now they're sitting here and I'm up here, doing my part of the Remember experience. And then she just coming up, just jumping all over everything, just getting all crazy. And God's telling me, hold. And people are starting to get pissed. Like, why don't you do something about her? Do something about it. You need to stop that. You need to stop. I'm like, and I'm just sitting there like, hold. And God's telling me to hold. And I'm just watching them all squirm like, dude, this is what you came for. You thought you came to hear what was coming through me? No, this is what you need. You need her. You need that crazy woman that you can't control, that you can't figure out, because that's going on inside of you. And resistance breeds persistence. What you fight against, you create. You need to stop fighting. You need to surrender. You need to yield. So instead of surviving, you can be thriving. And so then, once everybody got what they needed, then that's when the Father rose up in me and stopped it. And it stopped. But if I would have tried to do it, it would not have been done. It would have just it would have went full on war. And that was, you've seen the Kali statue, the crazy, she's got all the heads She got her tongue, blood dripping off of her tongue, blood dripping off the heads. The collie in her. That's what this is, a collie crazy energy. That if you go up with it, it's not going to fight fair, and it's going to fight to the death. And the only way to win it would have been to kill it. But I didn't want to kill her. God didn't want to kill her. That's literally what it would have led to. Somebody would have died. I could have overpowered her and killed her. But that's what would happen. Because she wasn't going to stop. If I poke that beast, like if I start, like, that's why I got to listen. Most successful generals choose the time and the place for the battle. But if you're choosing a time and a place by your own strategy, rather than taking orders from headquarters and going where he says, when he says, you're in that battle on your own. You don't want to be in a battle with demons on your own. Those things are a whole lot older and wiser than you are. They were around when Jesus was here. They talked to Jesus. They walked with Jesus. You didn't. They know a whole lot. They've seen plenty of you. They've lived in plenty of your bodies. Thousands of your bodies, they've lived in you. They've watched your thoughts from the inside out, way more than you have. You don't want to battle them without him. Who knows what I'm talking about? So elevation takes preparation. Rare air is reserved for the ones who wait on the Lord. That crazy lady was preparation for what just happened here. Just like we had a crazy dude, which the crazy dude came with the crazy lady. And he was crazy then when he came back then, but he wasn't crazy like this. This is a whole nother level of crazy. But we were all being prepared. Again, everything, like God's got a plan. Everything happens for a reason. What happens for a reason? Everything happens for a reason, and all things work for good. What works for good? All things work for good, but there's a caveat to that. All things work for good for those who believe and are called according to God's purpose. So if you don't believe in God and you're not called according to his purpose, it's not going to work good for you. It's going to work very, very bad for you. Even if it looks good, it's actually bad. The more good it looks, the more bad it actually is, because now you think that you're actually somewhere good that's actually in prison for you. You've been imprisoned by demons and don't even know it. The second most dangerous information is what you don't know, but the most dangerous is what you think you know that just ain't so. So it's even worse when you think it's good. You're imprisoned. How many of you ever, built a life that you thought was a good life until you were sitting inside of it and you're like, oh crap, I'm stuck inside of a prison. I built my own prison. I don't even know how to get out. I got to get out of this thing, but I don't know how. Yeah. It looked good on the front end, but you realized it wasn't God on the back end. Spirit of Counsel lets you know before you go where you're going. All right, so everybody say, rare air belongs to the one who waits. Rare air belongs to the ones who wait. Say that again. Rare air belongs to the ones who wait. All right, so let's pause for a moment. Everybody take a deep breath in. Become present to the present of the present. Feel your heart. And get ready for God to move. And get ready for God to move us. See, we're not building what looks good. We're not building what looks good here. Don't always look good what we're doing here. We're building what lasts. We're not moving to be impressive. I don't say things to be impressive, because a lot of things I say are not very impressive, because that's not what I'm doing it for. We're moving to be obedient. We don't move on pressure. We move on permission. We don't conquer for applause. We conquer on command. We don't need man's permission, because we've permission. We're not chasing their applause, because we're moving on God's cause. We don't move on fear. We don't move on feelings. We don't move on pressure. We don't move on pride. We move on counsel. Everybody say, let go and let God. We're putting it all on the altar. Everybody say, put it on the altar. You see, if it's real, it's going to survive the altar. Everybody say, put it on the altar. If it's God, it's going to rise from the altar. Everybody say, put it on the altar. But if it burns, it was never yours to carry. Everybody say, put it on the altar. Put it on the altar. Put it on the altar. Everybody stop. Listen. Breathe the rare air. Hold. Be present. Be ready. Stand up on your feet now. Everybody stand on your feet. Babylon moves fast, but heaven moves precise. Demon moves loud, but generals move led. The world chases more, but generals God gave. Everybody repeat after me. I put it on the altar. Everybody say, it's on the altar. Everybody say, I'm on the altar. Everybody say, we're on the altar. Everybody say, we don't take orders from culture. We don't take orders from fear. We don't take orders from pressure. We take orders from headquarters. We don't conquer to prove ourselves. We don't conquer to please people. We don't conquer for attention. Everyone said we conquer on demand. We conquer on command. Everyone say we're not self-driven. We're spirit-led. We're not self-led. We're spirit-led. We're not will-powered. We're spirit-fed. We're taking orders from headquarters. We conquer on command. We're spirit-led. We're spirit-fed. We're spirit-led. We're spirit-fed. Spirit-led. Spirit-fed. Spirit-led. Spirit-fed. Okay, hold. Stop. Wait. Listen. Breathe the rare air. Feel the presence of God in your heart. Be ready. Breathe in. Breathe out. Everybody say, put it on the altar. Put it on the altar. Spirit-led. Spirit-fed. Spirit-led. Spirit-fed. Spirit-led. Spirit-fed. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Hold. Be present. Be ready. Listen. See, some of you thought today was about building dreams. Some of you thought this was about running faster, but today it's about slowing down long enough to hear your name. God doesn't just want what you've built. He wants what you've been afraid to lay down. If you've been building on willpower, if you've been building on pressure, if you've been clinging to control, it's time to lay it on the altar. It's time to put your plans down so you can pick His presence up. Everyone keep your eyes closed. Take another deep breath of that rare air in as we pray. Father, today we release control. Today we lay down every dream that you didn't order, every weight you never asked us to carry, every timeline that you never gave us. We lay down comparison. We lay down pride. We lay down fear. We lay down the noise. We lay it all on the altar. Father, burn away what's not from you. Burn it down. I don't want to wait any longer to find out if it's yours or not. Now's the time. Burn it off of me. Burn it out of me. And breathe life into what is. What is yours? What is from you? What is your vision that you will provide for? Show that to me. Sing that to me. Whisper that to me. I'm listening, Father. Refine us in the fire. Realign us in your Spirit. Because we don't want what we can build without you. We only want what comes through you. We don't move unless you say move. And we don't conquer unless you command. We're Spirit-led and we're Spirit-fed. We're yours, completely, fully, and forever. In Jesus' mighty name, on earth as it is in heaven. Amen. See, the altar is not where dreams go to die. The altar is where sons and daughters come alive. So say it with me. We take orders from headquarters. We conquer on command. We're Spirit-led. And we're Spirit-fed. All right, everyone pause. Listen. Breathe the rare air. Breathe it out. Breathe in the Spirit of Counsel. Let it fill your heart. Let it fill your mind. Let it erase all the memories that were never meant for you. The memories of the past and the memories of the future. Let it all go. Lay it on the altar. Everyone say, I'm putting it on the altar. Everyone say it's on the altar. See, we didn't come here today just to get hyped. We came to get healed. We didn't come to just get strategy. We came to get surrendered. Because real generals, they know how to kneel before they conquer. Real generals, they know how to wait before they war. Real generals, they know the fire falls after the altar. So right here, right now, this is rare air that you are breathing. This is holy ground. And we didn't wait all this time just to move like everyone else. We waited so that we could move like no one else. Everyone lift your hands and lift your heart. Lift your whole self and put it on the altar. This is the moment where generals are forged. This is not the war room. This is the waiting room. Let your worship be your weapon. Let our surrender be our strategy. And let our stillness be our roar. This is the moment. Let His presence fill every empty space in you and every empty space in this room right here, right now. Heaven is breathing on us. And you don't need to hear my words anymore. You need to hear His whisper. Just allow His voice to fill you. And if you feel called to come to the altar for this great day, let Him guide you.